Name? Give the same again. Do not give or do not reset it. Change of password for admin. Can you see here admin? Okay, admin 123. For this guy, do not change any password. Do not do this. For other user, you can change. Okay, for other users, you can start changing. So right now, yesterday, a beautiful person. Okay. So Paru, admin Paru, yeah. This lady or guy, I don't know. Okay, they have changed. Okay, you have your number. Yeah. So they have changed the credentials. So it was blocked. Okay. So right now, get back. Logged in successfully. What next? What do you need to do? You have logged into a site administrator. Did you create a domain? I think completed yesterday. Okay. Follow the same. Fine, maximum is 100. Okay. So right now, logged in as site, created a domain, created a project, assigned site users. Fine. So right now, today you will log in as a site administrator. Then you started as a user groups. For that user groups, they need to start working, right? So how will they start working? The first thing, they will start checking for the release. Okay, the first thing they will be start checking for the release. So right now, where you can find release? You can find release in management. Can you see this? You can find releases in management. Kindly listen to me. How will you log in to this particular ALM desktop field? You'll just once again, you will go to this Internet Explorer. You'll give the URL. Okay. Give the URL. Remove the endpoints. Right now, log into AL desktop client. Ignore the warning message. Then, right now, whom did we create yesterday? Jit, right? Jit was our username. And in class, we created a user called Nisha. Okay. And we gave her a password also. That is Nisha123. And click on authenticate. Can you see? Can you see the domain as well as the project which we have assigned to her? Click on login. Four not one error. For how many? Ashwin Kumar and Syed. For everyone, 401 error. to ALM desktop client by using the username Nisha. Give username Nisha and password Nisha123. Okay. Not in site administrator, only in ALM desktop. Give this credential, authenticate, login. Okay, so right now, get back guys. So right now, what is the first duty as a test engineer? What you need to do? You need to create a release. So from the first uh, operations we'll learn. Okay, so for example, under dashboard, we'll get to know about the analysis. Okay, so what about the other one? Nothing but you need to talk about the releases also, right? In our manual classes, we have learned release is nothing but starting from requirement collection, developing an application, testing it for multiple life cycle. Did you notice that? What is testing or what is that release? Nothing but developing an application and testing it for multiple life cycles. Okay, testing it for multiple life cycles or test cycles, we call it as one release. So how exactly the release, how it will look? So we will start creating one release here. Okay, so right now, can you see this? Under management, this is your management. Under that, click on the drop down. Can you see a release? Can you see release? So click on release. It will take you to this page. For me, by default, for last batch, I have created some HP laptop release. So like this, you will find the releases here. Okay. So right now, what I will be doing? I'll be clicking on this new folder. As a person of optimistic, or like I want to do my work properly. That means whatever the work I am documenting it, it should be in a proper organized manner. So that is the reason I will click on new folder. Can you see this new folder? New release folder. So click on new release folder. Click on new release folder. Click on new release folder. You'll get a release folder name. So right now you can give as a
Ma'am, it is disabled.
yes.
Create new folder is disabled, ma'am.
Create new folder is disabled. Where? That means while creating a project, you have not enabled an extension. Okay, check out your creation. Okay, if you're having any queries, please put it in chat box. Get back. How many are able to create a folder? How many are able to click on this new release folder? Just acknowledge in chat box. Change for the project what you have created. Okay. So project extension, you need to enable all three of it. Okay, if you are not giving project extension properly, means you will not able to create a new release. Got it? How many are able to create folder? How many are able to create a folder? Okay. you're not able to create. So just check for your project. Okay. So people who are done, please concentrate. Under management, click on management, you will get a drop down list. Click on release. It will take you to release details page. Click on new folder. Give a release name. I'll just give release as release Tiger 1. Okay, the name of this particular release is release Tiger 1. Okay, so as a senior most person, or if you are a team lead, you can give the name what you wish. Okay, so you can give release 1, release 2, or you can just name the release also. You can give Tiger 1, Tiger 2, Tiger 3, like that. You can keep on naming your releases. So right now I just gave a name release Tiger 1. Then I'll click on OK. So duplicate release. Okay, so right now it says that already some have created that release Tiger 1. I'll just that simply write release Tiger. This is my release name. Okay, so release Tiger is the folder. So right now under this folder I need to create my own releases, right? So under this release folder I need to create new release. I want to create new release. That means the entire releases should be, all the details should be here only. Can you see the details page here? So it has attachment as well as the data. So right now the name by default it is giving you release Tiger, and I'll start writing description here. So release Tiger is an end-to-end process of the project. Nothing but I'm just describing the project here. So I'll say that release Tiger is an end-to-end process of the project which contains two modules in it. Okay, two modules in it. If you want to name the modules, you can just name the module, that is campaign and lead. That means in this particular release, on what module you are concentrating on, so that particular thing you have to describe here and save it. Done? Understood? So right now release has done. Okay, so right now after creating a release you can find the details, then you can find the attachment. If you are having any document to attach, you can go click here and it will take you to attachment which you want. Okay, so what exactly the client documentation you need. So right now do not attach anything. Okay, do not attach anything. Okay, later on you have the URL. If you are having any release URL also you can give here. Okay, then you have a snapshot of that particular requirement. Then you have system information. Okay, then you have clipboard just to write on. Okay, if you want to download it, you can. Okay, so right now you have created a release. So after creating a release, what is your duty? You need to add a new release, right? I just created a folder. Under this folder, I'll start giving the releases. So I'll click on new release. So under this new release, the mandatory information, you can see it in red color. Can you see this red? This particular description says that you need to describe the name of the release. So I'll say this is Tiger 1. Okay, the name of the release is Tiger 1. Then it is asking for me the details. I hope so it is visible for everyone. So it is giving me details. So when will you start this release? You can start
Hey,
typing
ma'am.
the data. Okay, you can start typing in, or you can start choosing the data. Okay, I think you people are following. How many are able to create? How many are able to create? Creating. Okay, nice. What about others? I have 99 plus students here. No? How many are creating? How many are sitting simply? Huh? Not able to create. No. How to enable? Okay, while creating the project only you should enable it. Okay, so I hope so everyone know how to create a project, right? It's not a big deal. Okay, as well as you gave credential. Okay, yes or no? So create one more, Peter. Create one more project and kindly follow the steps. Okay, so get back. So get back once again. I repeat, log in as a user. Everyone log in as a user. Use this credential to log in as a user. Nisha as a username and Nisha123 is a password. Log into ALM desktop. Log into ALM desktop. After logging in, click on management. Click on management. After clicking on, click on releases. Click on releases. After clicking on releases, click on new release folder icon. Can you see the folder icon? In the top, in the menu bar, can you see this? New release folder. Okay. If you are not finding it, means on the release feature only, right click. Okay, on the release feature only, if you right click, you can find the drop down menu. If you are not able to click here, means people who are not able to click on new release, means when you click on, when you right click, you can find new release. Okay, just try that. After clicking on new folder, create a folder. Under a folder, you need to start giving the description. You need to give a description. Later on, you need to add a release here. So for this particular folder, I'm adding a release. So click on new release, the next icon, what you can see in the top. Click on new release. Give a release name. I have given the release name as Tiger 1. Okay, the release name here is Tiger 1. Previously, we gave the release folder name. Only folder name I have mentioned as release Tiger. Okay, here I am giving the release name as Tiger 1. Okay, next. What next? I need to give the start date. So, usually when you are working for waterfall model, when you have a lesser requirement or when you are confident on the requirement, your project will go for 1 year to 6 months. Yes or no? So based on that duration, you need to fix the start date and end date of that particular release. Okay, so release is nothing but it's for your old fashioned or like traditional models. Okay, it is release. So right now imagine you have a waterfall model what you have applied to your project, and you have a release. Okay, you have one release, you need to complete 4 modules and you need to give it to your client. So the client gave you the requirement. Okay, so imagine today 24th January he has given you the requirement, you selected from the calendar. Okay, by next 24 January 2024 you need to give this particular project back to him. So that is the reason. Can you see? That means in this particular 1 year you need to complete one release. Okay, it might be from 6 months to 1 year also. Okay, but not less than that. Okay, so this is the duration here, start date and end date. Nothing but how long will you keep this folder, like you're just creating a milestone here. Okay, like achievement, I have to do this by the end of this 24th Jan next 2024, and you'll start describing the release. So you'll start saying that in this release I will work on the functionality of the module. Okay, what you will write? You'll start writing the description for this particular release. You'll start writing in this release, it's your reference, guys. Whatever the description you're writing for the action, it is your reference. Okay, in this release, we can understand the functionality. Okay, you can just write functionality of the modules. So right now I have written one spelling wrong here. Yes or no? So how will I correct it? How will I check it? So right now select that word. Here you have check option. So right now it is giving nationality or which is this. So right now I need functionalities. Okay, so you can take it and you can change it. So the particular name is been it has been checked and properly it has made properly. Okay, so right now this description is giving you n number of things. Can you see? If you want to highlight, ma'am, I want to highlight, yes, you can highlight, you can make it bold. Ma'am, I want to give some point wise. Okay, give point wise. It is giving you n number of action. I want to add image. Okay, add image. I want to insert tables. Yes, you can insert the table under this particular description. Later on, what happens? You need to click on OK. So right now, what am I doing? I'm giving details. I'm giving the release details. In this particular release, what are you doing? Or can I call it a scope? Can I call it a scope of the release? Yes or no? Then I'm giving about the description as well as the start and end date. Okay, done. So after this, you can find one more attachment. If you are able to attach any kind of document, means you can give it in as a file format or URL format, whatever it is. Okay, so right now, after creating a description as well as the details for this release, kindly click on OK. Okay, kindly click on OK. So click on OK. After clicking on OK, can you see the release name? Under this format, this is the folder what I have created, release Tiger. So under this, I have created one release, that is Tiger 1, and these are the data. Can you see the release ID? By default, it is generating one ID and it is giving me. Yes or no? and it is giving the name as well as the start date and end date. So these are the details. So right now, did I assign these requirements to any team? No, I'm just preparing this. Okay, so if you're assigning this particular requirements or this particular release details to any of your test engineer means you will see the count here. You will see the count here. Right now, I have not assigned to anyone. Okay, so right now, after looking at the details, go for the next feature. Can you see this? After details, you have release description. Here, what is the scope of the release? What should I do? What is the name of the module? What is the priority? So you'll start entering all the details here. Okay. Then you will be having something called as development area. Okay. So this what changes a developer has made in this particular release. Okay. When he is giving this particular module to you to test, what are the changes? What are the contribution? What are the file? What are the changes like modification? How many lines of code he has modified? So each and everything he has to document here in this particular development session. Okay. So right now these are not our issues. Okay. So just knowing this is it's kind of good. Okay. Then you have next feature, that is master plan. Can you see master plan? See how beautifully you are planning. See, you have from Jan 1st of 2023 to you have up to Jan. Up to you have 2024. What are the things you are doing from Jan, Feb, March is considered as one sector. Then April, May, June is considered as one sector. Then July, August, September considered as one sector. Then October, November one sector, and January one more sector. Okay. So like this, it will start showing you the time. Okay. We also call it as timeline. Okay. For example, I want to achieve one module within 3 months. So whether you have achieved or not. Okay. So this will be demonstrating here beautifully. Later on, you have scorecard. Nothing but how many you have scored for the release one. Okay. I can say like your report execution. Okay. So this is your execution report, and what are your contribution to this scorecard. Okay, so your data will be displayed here. Okay, then as usual, you will be having status. See, right now we have yes, 1 second. Hello. Yes, tell me. Yes, right now I'm in class. I have not gone through. Later I'll check. Get back. So you have the days. How many days are remaining? What is your status? Whether you have executed or not. You will get a beautiful graph here. Okay, how much you have covered. Okay, so each and every actions of you will be notified here. Got it? Understood? So start creating multiple releases. Okay, so under one module, start clicking on new releases. Click on new release. Click on new release. Give release name as Tiger 2. Okay, and give the start and end date. I'll say that from Feb 2022 to like December 2022. Okay, I'll give one date. Okay, and I will create it. So release to Tiger created. Can you see? Can you see directly it is taking you to the status? That means you got 304 days to work on this release. Okay, like this, under one folder, start creating multiple releases so that you can find this status beautifully. How many days for you? No, it's not necessary to sit and count the dates. Automatically, the application is doing it for you. Got it? It gives you the total days, pending days, after assigning how much days you have and what is your time deadline, how much you have covered, what are the different test cycle you have to work in. Like that, you need to give n number of data here. Kindly do this work. I'll give you 2 minutes. Just to change the date and check for the release, the status, whether it is running, not attached, not started. Release folder. So this is the release folder what you have created. So click on that release folder and click on the above second icon. So the second icon is conveying to create a new release. So just now I created a folder, right? Inside that I need to put some release, right? So I'll give new release. So after clicking on this icon new release, you will get a page, new release page. What you need to do? You need to give a name. So right now I'll give Tiger 3 and I'll mention the start date. Okay. Check what happens whether if you don't give start date. I'll just give end date. I'll just give end date and click on OK. It is saying that required fields. Okay, so that means it is a mandatory field. Okay, got it. So check for the start date as well as the end date, and you got Tiger 3 and the release duration is 151 days. And right now the test instance, nothing but the running action, is not applicable. I didn't even assign to anyone. Got it, everyone? Created release. After creating a folder, created release. Okay. So next, so in one release, what are the things you should have? Inside a release, what are the other things you should have? So release only, the definition of release is nothing but testing the application for multiple test cycles. Yes or no? The definition, whatever you have learned in your manual class, it says that release is nothing but the combination of several test cycles. So right now, under this cycles or under this release, I need to create a cycle, right? So click on the release, what you want to create a test cycle. Click here on a new cycle. Can you see the fourth option? Can you see the fourth option? So select the release, what you want to add a test cycle. Click on new cycle icon in the top. Click on new cycle icon. You will get new cycle page. So if you are not able to click on new cycle, just press Ctrl Y. Okay, so if you are not able to click or create a new cycle, just give a shortcut Ctrl Y to create a new cycle. Okay, so the cycle is nothing but like for testing activities. So in this cycle, I will test one build. So the same build in this cycle, I'll give to development team. So that development team in this cycle only, they'll start fixing the bug. Got it? So that is the need of this particular test cycle. I think your definition says that testing one particular build for a particular time duration. For example, 4 to 5 days you need to test one build. That means you cannot take months to test, only some days. Okay, if you are having one module with one feature, how long you need? It is more than 2 days is enough. Okay, That means you will only mention some smaller interactions, okay, like a smaller duration. How exactly you will test that particular build. Okay, so right now what you need to do, you need to give the start date. You'll say that from today to next 3 days I will work on this test cycle. Only 3 days, one module. Okay, I'll give start date and end date of this particular test cycle. I think in your manual you have learnt. Yes or no? In your manual you have learnt. What did you learn? Test cycle. How was the diagram? Do you remember the diagram? Something like this. This is your test environment. You will get a build from the development team. So the same build, you will put it in your testing environment. Yes or no? So what happens in testing environment? What happens in testing environment after putting that particular build into testing environment? So you will start estimating the time. For example, the build number was B01, or give the build number as B01. Okay. So this B01 build has module called as A. It has the module called A. Okay. So how long do you need to test this one particular module in one build? That is the cycle. What is that? That is your test cycle. So for example, the estimation of the days, you can estimate, you will take 2 days or 3 days to test this particular build. To test this particular build, if you are taking 2 days, means that 2 days is your test cycle, the duration. Okay, I'm talking about only this particular timeline. What is this timeline? It is from start date. I have given the start date. What was the start date here? Okay, what was the start date? I started with, yes, I started with 24th. Yes or no? What I need to do? I need to add a cycle. Okay, I need to add a new cycle. Okay, I started. So I'll start with 24 today and I will end with 26, 2 days. Okay, and I will give cycle name. Okay, you can give the cycle name. So what cycle name you can give? I'll give it as cycle 1. I'll give the name it as cycle 1. You can describe here. In cycle 1, okay, in cycle 1, we test module A by applying functionality testing, or the methodology by applying functionality testing. You'll just give a description and you will click on OK. Can you see? Under a release Tiger 1, you created one cycle. That means under this cycle, you will start working for that particular build assign. Can you see here? Requirement assigned to this cycle. That means you will be having the documentation here. How many requirements you have assigned? Okay. So right now you have test set folders. I can say that test set is nothing but your test suite, guys. In your test trail, you have learned set a test suite, right? So that test suite here, they are calling it as test set. Okay, so how many kind of folders you have, how many kind of documentation you have to do this cycle? So that particular number, if you are assigned or if you are attaching it, it will give you a count here. Got it? What is this? It is nothing but your test suite, or I can say your test case. Indirectly I can say it as test case. So it will give you the list of test cases what you have written. Okay, and ma'am, how will I increase the count here? To increase the count here, you need to know about lab resources. Later I'll tell you. Okay, how to modify this also. Don't worry. So right now, what is your duty? You need to create a release folder, create one release. You need to start creating cycles under this particular release. So start creating cycle 2, give cycle 2, give a start date. Say that I'll start with 27 and end with 31st. And say okay. Cycle 2 created. Nothing but whatever the diagram you have drawn here now, the same thing you are mentioning in your ALM2. Okay. So right now, this is your test cycle 2. That is B02. They will check the, okay, they will retest it and they will send it back to you again. Okay, so this will happen. So what you need to do, you need to consider this as your second test cycle. This as your second test cycle. Got it? So this second test cycle, how will I document? How will I document? Imagine this build has module A and module B. Okay. So what you need to do? You need to test it, right? You need to test module A and B. How will you test? What will you call? That is called as test cycle. So right now, you and I know that is test cycle. Like this something diagram we have drawn. But in real time, how will you create? You'll create it like this. How long will you take? What is the description? How many tester suit they have assigned to you? How many requirements are assigned to you? By looking at the requirement, you can start doing testing. By looking at the test suit, you can start doing testing. Got it? So create a 4 test cycle under one release. Start creating 4 test cycles under one release. Cycle 3. Okay, and I'll say that from February 1 to February 4, I will complete this action. That is cycle 3. Like this, start creating multiple cycles. Your manual classes you have mentioned here. In cycle 1, you will be doing functionality test cases on module A. Okay. And in cycle 2, what are the testing you will be doing? Only functionality? No. You will write functionality as well as integration testing. Yes or no? Do you remember this? So that description also you can start writing in your description box. Okay. Got it, everyone? Whether you are following. How many? Alive and working. Got it. Created 4 cycles. Got to know about release. So what next? We have libraries. We have SCM. Nothing but what kind of release what we will be working on. And we will be having builds also. Okay. So before going this, we need to know about the requirements also, right? So they are mentioning something called as requirements assigned to cycle. Requirements assigned to cycle. How exactly it is? Okay. So how exactly it is, we will check here. Okay. So right now, can you see some requirements? Can you see the requirements here? The next feature after management. Can you see requirements? Click on requirements. You'll find a requirements link. Okay, the next feature. Click on requirements and start creating a new folder. For each and every requirement, whatever you get, if you are maintaining in folder means it is easy. Okay, so click on new folder, give a folder name. Okay, so you can give it is a CRM requirement. I'll just directly get CRM requirement. Okay, I'll click on OK. This is CRM folder. So under this folder, can you see ID is getting directly generated? It is giving number 5. Okay, then can you see the person who is responsible? It is Nisha. Okay, then after that you need to start adding a new requirement, right? Folder you have created, you need to start adding new requirement. So what is the requirement name? You will start giving the requirement here. Okay, so first requirement for you was like create new campaign, right? Yes or no? What was the requirement given to you? To create a new campaign. Yes or no? So mention that. Okay, then by default author is Nisha. She is responsible. Then what is your creation time? Okay, nothing but what is the time now? Then date, by default if you don't give also it will be taken. Okay, then direct. Okay, whether this requirement is running, whether it is passed, whether it is converted, or whether it is able to produce for further or not, you will be getting. Why? Because in your feasibility analysis, or better I can say V and V module. Okay, so V and V module, there you have a requirement. See, you are documenting a requirement here. Okay, so you are documenting a requirement. Your developers are documenting a requirement. That means it is in draft. It is not running. They are simply documenting it. Similarly, we test engineer also simply documenting it until and unless it is reviewed. Until and unless the requirement is reviewed, we never give the status as passed. So if it is reviewed, or if it is able to convey, or if it is able to complete it, then only you will give status as passed for this particular requirement. Until and unless the requirement is passed, you can start working. Okay, you cannot start working. So right now I'll give the status as failed. Let's check what happens. Okay, then you have some changes here. For example, if you are working for any other spiral model and all, okay, suddenly your client will come and change the changes. Okay, you will start changing the requirements. So at that time, what was the changes? So you will start giving the changes here. Okay, you will give the module names or the feature name what he is changing. Then when did you modify? That also you will mention here. Then what type, what kind of type you are using, whether it is in hardware or software. Okay, then what is priority? Then you have your product. Okay, so what was the product you are working on? Then whether it is reviewed or not, you need to check. Okay, so just create a requirement, click on submit. Can you see in background? Don't be shocked. Okay, until and unless you give close, this window will not close. So right now, can you see in the background under CRM folder, you created first requirement with requirement ID 17. Create a new campaign. Right now the requirement has failed. I'll give one more option. Okay, so I'll create one more requirement, edit. Okay, edit new campaign. Okay, and I will say that it is created today. By default, if you don't give also, it will take. Then I'll give the permission. Okay, I'll give the permission here. So I'll say that it is not completed. Why? Because the first one is only failed. The requirement is only failed. It is not completed. And what about priority? It is quite medium. Okay. Then whether did you do any changes? If you are doing any changes, you have to write it here. Later on, click on submit. Can you see the different status? Like this, as a test engineer, you have to be able to create the requirement and check for the status. Whether the status of the requirement is really completed or not. Okay, so best example is your V and V. For example, you are getting one CRS, nothing but your requirement. Okay, CRS. So the CRS will be conveyed to your team. So what you need to do? You need to check whether it is going to really happen or not. Okay, so after reviewing only, what you will give the status? You will give the status as pass. You will give the status as pass for that particular requirement what he has sent. Yes or no? So the same procedure what you have learned theoretically, you are doing practically here by giving multiple sessions. Created, understood? Okay. So after creating n number of requirements here, just close it. You can use this close button or you can also use this close. Okay. So just close this window and check for the details. Okay. I'll just check for the details of the requirement. Can you see? Okay. You can see the risk, what is attached, then what is the attachment, whether they have linked anything or not. Okay. Whether do you have any development related or not, whether do you have requirement. So again, you have test case, you have business modules. Okay. So you can find n number of features here. Okay, got it? Understood? Start creating requirement and create one folder. Start creating requirement. You can also give create campaign, create lead, create potential, create product, create quotation, create price book. Start giving n number of requirements based on the project knowledge what you have. And we'll continue the same action tomorrow itself. Okay, from tomorrow we'll continue the same. About this particular application thoroughly. And Monday you will be having one offline class. Okay, same timings 2:30 to 4:30 you will be having one offline class regarding interview questions. Okay, I hope so everyone. It was audible. So we will continue this online session from 6:30 to 8 o'clock on this ALM tool, and finally on Monday you will be having one interview session. Okay, prepare questions, okay, for yourself and start preparing your resume. Okay, as I have given the instruction in class, start preparing, and Monday we'll be having one QA session. You can start asking n number of questions if you are having any doubts, and I'll be discussing some interview questions. Got it? Okay. People who are having doubt, please kindly stay back. Others can leave for the day. Bye bye.